The headlines scream from every screen. Europe is on edge. Tensions between Russia and the West haven't been this high in decades. Whispers of a new Cold War are growing louder. Each day brings fresh provocations, unmarked drones, mysterious naval movements. This isn't just rhetoric anymore. The threat feels real. The air is thick with anxiety. Citizens look to their leaders for reassurance, but find little comfort. It feels like we're standing on the edge of a major shift in the global order. Russia's latest moves in the Baltic Sea have triggered alarm bells across NATO. The decisions made now will have profound consequences for international security. The crisis ignited in the Baltic Sea, near the Danish island of Bornholm, a strategic choke point. Commercial ships reported GPS jamming and strange interference. Russian warships, transponders off, operated in the shadows. No official exercise, intentions unknown. Unidentified drones, believed Russian, buzzed Danish vessels, and hovered over key energy infrastructure. These were military-grade drones, capable of attack. NATO commanders went on high alert. Was this a prelude to sabotage? The ambiguity was the weapon, spreading panic and uncertainty. This is classic Russian hybrid warfare. Unmarked ships, unattributed drones, plausible deniability. Moscow creates a crisis while claiming innocence, paralyzing NATO's decision-making. A weak response would embolden Russia. A strong one risks escalation. The Baltic Sea is vital for NATO members' security and economy. Russia's actions directly challenge NATO's dominance, signaling it can threaten neighbors at will. The Kremlin aims to rewrite Northern Europe's security map, establishing a new reality. The alliance must respond with overwhelming clarity. The world is watching for NATO's next move. The stakes are enormous. The time for hesitation is over. The response was swift and unmistakable. Washington ordered the USS Gerald R. Ford, America's most advanced aircraft carrier, to Northern Europe. Its deployment was public, a declaration that the United States stands with its allies. The message to Moscow: back down. The Ford's arrival changed the crisis dynamic. A 100,000-ton warship off Europe's coast is a powerful signal. It's a steel-clad guarantee of Article 5. An attack on one is an attack on all. The Ford led a formidable armada: guided missile cruisers, destroyers, and attack submarines. Patrol aircraft filled the skies, providing constant surveillance. This was a multi-domain operation, showcasing NATO's ability to project power on, above, and below the sea. Nervous allies in the Baltic saw America's security guarantee was real. For the Kremlin, it was a rude awakening. Their gambit had failed. Instead of division, they triggered unity and resolve. The United States called their bluff without firing a shot. The chessboard was reset. The balance of power restored in NATO's favor. The world took notice. The crisis had entered a new phase. Russia's shadow play was over. NATO's resolve was on full display. The stakes had never been clearer. The USS Gerald R. Ford Strike Group is the most powerful naval force ever assembled. The carrier's electromagnetic launch system puts more fighter jets in the air, faster. Its air wing, over 75 aircraft, including stealth F-35Cs, can strike deep into enemy territory undetected. The Ford is protected by a ring of steel cruisers and destroyers armed with Tomahawk missiles and the Aegis combat system. These ships defend against air, missile, and drone threats, tracking hundreds of targets at once. Beneath the waves, American attack submarines hunt enemy vessels, forcing Russian subs to operate with extreme caution. This layered defense makes the strike group nearly impenetrable. The combined capabilities are staggering, overwhelming air power, missile defense, and undersea dominance. The Ford Strike Group brought more firepower than most nations possess. It's a self-contained ecosystem of military power, able to project force anywhere and defend itself against any threat. Russia had no answer to this concentration of power. The message was clear. NATO's military dominance is unmatched. The Ford's presence changed the calculus in the region. The balance of power had shifted decisively. The world was watching. The Baltic crisis is part of a larger strategic competition, now unfolding in the Arctic. Melting ice is opening new shipping lanes and access to vast resources. Russia sees the Arctic as its backyard. reopening military bases and building nuclear icebreakers. Moscow aims to control the northern sea route and exploit resources, putting it on a collision course with NATO. The US, Canada, Denmark, Norway, and Iceland have their own interests in the region. The Forward Strike Group's deployment signaled NATO's ability to project power into the high north. Practicing in the Greenland-Iceland-UK gap, NATO showed it can keep sea lanes open and protect Arctic allies. The Arctic is a critical component of Russia's nuclear deterrent. For NATO, preventing Russian dominance in the Arctic is a top priority. The alliance drew a line in the ice. The Arctic will be governed by international law, not Russian fiat. The new great game is underway. The stakes are high. The world's attention is shifting north. Russia hoped its Baltic gambit would divide NATO. Instead, it united the alliance like never before. The threat to Denmark galvanized a collective response. British, Norwegian, German, and Polish ships joined the American strike group. Sweden and Finland, NATO's newest members, integrated seamlessly. Warships from a dozen nations sailed together under unified command. Russia's aggression shattered illusions of partnership. Europe now sees Moscow as a revisionist power. Defense budgets are rising, militaries modernizing, and the Baltic is now a NATO lake. Russia's military, already stretched thin, cannot risk direct confrontation. The Kremlin's attempt to intimidate and divide backfired spectacularly. Instead of weakening NATO, they made it stronger. The alliance remembered why it exists. Russia's strategic blunder is historic. NATO's unity is now its greatest strength. The message to Moscow is unmistakable. If Russia escalates, NATO's most powerful weapon may be economic. The West controls the global financial system and can inflict crippling pain. A full financial blockade would cut Russia off from SWIFT, making trade nearly impossible. Secondary sanctions would isolate Russia from the world economy. The ruble would collapse, inflation would soar, and the government would struggle to pay its bills. A full embargo on Russian oil and gas would devastate Moscow's revenue. Europe is prepared. Strategic reserves are full, new supply chains established. Russian elites would see their assets frozen, travel revoked, and lifestyles ended. The social contract, stability in exchange for freedom, would break. Economic hardship could spark unrest and challenge the Kremlin's grip. Putin knows a full-scale economic war is unwinnable. The threat is real, and it's hanging over Moscow. Russian drones in the Baltic were a key intimidation tool. Cheap, hard to detect, and deniable. Countering them is a NATO priority, and the Forward Strike Group is ready. Advanced radars on Aegis ships detect even small drones at distance, sharing data instantly across the fleet. Airborne early warning aircraft provide a 360-degree view, ensuring no threat goes unnoticed. Hostile drones are met with layered defenses. Fighter jets intercept at range. Missiles and CIWS guns protect up close. Electronic jammers disrupt drone controls. Directed energy weapons silently disable them. This multi-layered approach turns Russia's drone strength into a vulnerability. NATO's high-tech defenses neutralize the threat. The alliance adapts quickly to new challenges. The drone menace is being met head-on. The failed Baltic Gambit sent shockwaves through the Kremlin. NATO's unified, overwhelming response exposed Russia's weakness. Hardliners who promised NATO would crumble have been silenced. Putin's image as a master strategist is damaged. He looks like a reckless gambler. Kremlin factions are questioning his decisions and the wisdom of confrontation with the West. Expect purges of military and intelligence officials, classic Kremlin tactics. But every purge breeds new enemies and instability. Russia's ambitions far exceed its capabilities. Its economy and military are no match for NATO's combined might. By provoking this crisis, Putin forced a direct comparison, and Russia came up short. The emperor has no clothes. The Russian elite and people must now decide how long to follow a leader down a path of confrontation and decline. The world is watching for what comes next.